This 500 kilometers border was created in 1921 to partition Ireland into two countries, the Republic of Ireland, an independent Irish state in the south, and Northern Ireland, which is a part of the United Kingdom. Now, there is a strong possibility that this border could disappear and the two separate entities could unite, turning Ireland into a single sovereign state. Here's why reunification may happen. Sinn Féin, the nationalist party that has been advocating for a united Ireland since its inception in 1905, became the largest party in the Northern Ireland in 2022. Its vice president, Michelle O'Neill, has now made history as the first Irish nationalist minister sworn in to lead the country after a 2-year boycott by the Unionists.
My parents, my grandparents' generation certainly would never have thought that a nationalist would come into the post of First Minister.
O'Neill says that Irish reunification is now just a decade away. But why was Ireland divided in the first place? To understand this, we have to look at its history.
According to international law, we went from the Republic of Ireland into the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
Well, we're in what I consider occupied Ireland now.
Occupied by whom?
The British.
Ireland was a contested territory since the 12th century when the Anglo-Norman invasion brought the English to Ireland. It became England's first colony. Irish Catholics began resisting, but by the end of the 16th century, the territory was fully colonized by Protestant England. Tens and thousands of Protestant settlers loyal to the British Crown were planted in strategic areas of Ireland known as plantations, especially in Ulster, the northernmost of Ireland's provinces. Despite being displaced from their homes by the Protestant settlers, the native Irish Catholic population did not convert to Protestantism. What followed were two divided communities with their own language, religious beliefs, and culture living under one roof. Over the next several hundred years, Ulster's identity crisis evolved into a political fight. Unionists, mostly Protestants, wanted to be a part of the United Kingdom, while nationalists, mostly Catholics, favoured independence. However, at the beginning of the 20th century, things began to change. Britain's first ever general election with near universal suffrage was held in 1918. Sinn Féin proclaimed the Irish Republic after it decisively won 46.9% of the Irish vote, taking 73 seats of the 105 in the Dáil, the Irish Parliament. The group wanted Ireland to be ruled by the Irish people, but not all agreed. Protestants in Ulster opposed Sinn Féin. Violence steadily increased and escalated into an all-out war. On one side were the Irish Volunteers and the Irish Republican Army, the IRA, a guerrilla resistance group, and on the other side were the British Army, the Royal Irish Constabulary, and the Ulster Volunteers. The Irish War of Independence raged on for 2 years from 1919 to 1921. In 1921, a negotiated peace deal led to the partition of Ireland by the British into two parts, the Catholic majority south and the Protestant majority north, but both under the British Empire. This was rejected by the nationalists in the south, who continued their armed campaign to separate from the UK. The South managed to secede in 1922 and the Irish Free State was formed. But its link with the Empire remained until it gained full independence and declared itself the Republic of Ireland in 1948. In Northern Ireland, however, Irish Catholic nationalists who were a minority were facing systemic discrimination by the British, whether it was related to employment or housing. Laws like the Special Powers Act allowed the British police to imprison people without any trial or charge and to ban publications as well as assemblies. This led to a civil rights movement in the 1960s with the Irish Catholics demanding equal rights. The movement was, however, met with violent repression from the British government, leading to riots. Soon after, an insurgency by the IRA, who were fighting against the campaign of violence by the British Army, erupted with full force. This period, known as the Troubles, began in 1968 and saw many dark days, including Bloody Sunday in 1972, when the British Army killed 26 unarmed demonstrators in Derry. Over a period of 3 decades, more than 3,600 people, mostly civilians, were killed. The bloodshed finally ended in 1998 with the signing of the Good Friday Agreement, which established a power-sharing Catholic-Protestant government in Northern Ireland. It also guaranteed a referendum if a majority in Northern Ireland sought to separate from the UK and form a united Ireland. When the UK separated itself from the European Union, Northern Ireland, which overwhelmingly voted to remain in the European Union, had to part ways with the EU as well. Trade between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland became complicated given the fact Northern Ireland shared a land border with the Republic, which remained an EU member state. The passing of goods through a sensitive border stirred memories of past violence and caused a constitutional crisis over Brexit deals. Northern Ireland's exit from the EU also worsened the housing crisis and has led to a collapse of the country's healthcare system.
The fact that the north of Ireland was removed from the European Union against the wishes of a majority of people here, and the option of Irish reunification gives people here a way back, and I think that's an important new dimension to it.
Though there is a sizable desire for reunification in Northern Ireland, the quest for progressive policies, housing and universal healthcare is an even greater priority.
There's been a serious socio-economic crisis here. In many ways, this society has been devastated. So, people look across the border to the south and they see a better option socially and economically for the future of their children.
Sinn Féin are the favourites to lead a government in the Republic of Ireland in the next year's general elections, boosting chances of a united Ireland.
If Sinn Féin do lead the next Irish government, you can see them taking a very proactive approach to planning and preparing properly for constitutional change.
But the UK's Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has played down the chances of Irish reunification.
It's not constitutional change, it's delivering on the day-to-day things that matter to people.
And for many in Northern Ireland, the recent rise of nationalists in power is a seismic shift in the island's history.
If you had told me in Derry in the 1970s and 80s, when I was growing up, that there would be a Sinn Féin First Minister in this society, I probably, I would have laughed,
Though Irish reunification is a major goal for Sinn Féin, all politicians in Northern Ireland are under intense pressure to address fundamental issues affecting life. And the future of Ireland hinges on how those issues are addressed, and if Northern Ireland citizens will be convinced that they are better off aligning with Dublin than remaining under London's authority.